Here's how to integrate content and ELA skills for deeper learning. As we move through life, we don't experience subjects as isolated islands. They're all interconnected. In the same way, we want to show our students that different subjects all connect and work together. When we focus on college and career readiness, it's important to show students how subjects like math, social studies, science, and other subjects all work together and are interconnected. This integrated approach not only builds deeper understanding, but also higher level thinking skills. Instead of teaching ELA skills in isolation, consider building background knowledge first with your content standards. When we introduce a new topic, we're not just teaching facts, we're laying the groundwork so that we can effectively teach our ELA skills. You want to start with your content first. For example, I might decide to teach a science lesson. We're going to build that background knowledge with the science vocabulary with students and then later bring in those ELA skills and teach the nitty-gritty of language arts. This method takes students from the unknown to the known and also helps them build those real-world connections. Here's how to apply this in the classroom. Tip number 1, bridge content and language objectives. The key to connecting your ELA standards to your content standards is by backwards planning. When we do backwards planning in GLAD, we always want to start with the content standards we're teaching and lay them out for the school year. Once you've laid those out, you then want to take a look at your English language arts standards and make sure that you're hitting your ELA skills in every unit of study for the full school year. By laying out your content standards first and then putting in your ELA standards, this allows you and encourages you not to teach ELA in isolation, but rather in an integrated approach. Once you have your standard-based year plan already created and you know what you're teaching, it's time to dive into the strategies. That brings us to tip number 2, to process your content with your ELA skills. In order to teach ELA skills effectively, you need language. Regardless of what content area you're teaching, you can use all of those content areas and then drive your ELA skills through it. After teaching a content-rich lesson, you can use the same strategy and then apply your ELA skills and teach that to your students. For example, I might have just read a big book to my students all about ecosystems. I can then reread that same big book on ecosystems with my students, and this time we're going to process for ELA skills. We can refer back to our standards-based year plan to see which ELA skills we need to target. It might be things like affixes, root words, punctuation, grammar, reading foundational skills. The options are endless. To continue this approach, you can focus on a different ELA skill during your lessons. So for example, every time I read my big book, I might choose a different ELA standard to focus on. Some teachers prefer to follow the scope and sequence of their ELA curriculum, so whatever you're using, try to integrate it in with the strategies. And lastly, remember the power of the gradual release of responsibility. Once I've modeled it whole class, students can then work on this in team tasks. So in their teams, they might get a copy of the big book or a copy of the poetry, and they will go through and process all of the ELA standards that is in our scope and sequence. Once they've completed the team task, they can then do this as an individual. So you might give them a printout of some of the lessons that we've done, and as an individual, they will go through and they will be expected to process the ELA standards. By shifting the focus from isolated instruction to more of the integrated approach, you can help students not only master content, but at the same time, practice their language skills. Now let's take a look at a classroom demo.
So for important words, a lot of times we will highlight them to help them stand out, just like we do with our word cards on our graphic organizer input chart. So let's go ahead and we're gonna highlight this word variation. And when we highlight, we wanna highlight the first letter of the word, the last letter of the word, and everything in between. So say that with me. First letter, last letter, and everything in between. Read it with me. Variation. Now we can write the definition. And we learned that it is a change, right? Or a difference. So I'm gonna write that down here. A change or difference. So something that's a little bit different. I'm gonna make this gesture. Everybody say a change or difference. Change or difference. It's not exactly the same, it's a little bit of a change. It's a long word. It's a multisyllabic word. And sometimes when we're reading, it helps to read it by syllable. So we're gonna slow down and we're gonna count the syllables in this word, okay? So count them with me. We're gonna clap them out. Variation. How many? 4 syllables. I'm gonna mark them here. Variation. We've got 4 syllables. So a syllable is a unit. It's a unit of pronunciation within a word. So it's the vowel sounds that you hear in a word. So we've got variation. We've got 4 units in there. So I'm gonna write that down here. I'm gonna write down what a syllable is. A syllable is a unit of pronunciation with 1 vowel sound. Read that with me. A unit of pronunciation with 1 vowel sound.